Which are the top 5 tech characters in Dokkan Battle? Let's find out. What's up, Beast People? Titos here, and welcome to a brand new top 5 on the channel. Today we're gonna go through the top 5 tech Dokkan Battle units. Now, this is gonna be a personal list, so if you have your own favorite top 5 tech characters that are available, of course, in global at the moment, that are non-LRs, let me know in the comments down below. Today I'm gonna go through some of the honorable mentions because there's a lot of good units and I cannot make a video without mentioning all the other good units besides the very top 5 that I really like. So this is kind of like almost a top 15, you know? No! Ok, eita. Eu vou cortar isto. So yeah, let's actually go through and talk about all of these units. So to start off, we have already on the screen Viciousness Released, Super Saiyan Gohan Possessed from GT. So this is the good Super Saiyan Gohan when he gets possessed by Baby. And this is a pretty decent free-to-play unit. It's actually free-to-play, you get it from the event and you can awaken it and get it to be UR, and it's a decent support tech unit. It is decent because it does provide tech types Ki +3 and defense +30%. So it's not only for extremes, even though it's an extreme unit, it's for all tech units. So that's pretty okay, honestly. And it causes extreme damage to enemy. I mean, it's overall basic because it's a free-to-play unit, but if you can get to max it out, it has at least reasonable stats with 10k HP, 10k attack, and 7k defense. So that's one of the cards that I feel like it should be on the list, and I really do like the art, and I appreciate Baby Gohan. I mean, those are all amazing. Baby Saga was great. I feel like it should have been so much better. And I do like the art of this card, and it looks amazing. So it's a pretty decent card, so it had to be here. Another one, of course, it would be the Majin Vegeta tech, Majin Vegeta, because it's a great card. It damages all the enemies, and it has a chance to stun all of them as well. That is pretty good super attack, and I mean, overall, it has decent stats. And the passive is not amazing. It's attack +50% at the start of the turn. But again, it's a pretty decent card. If you have it, it's good for tournaments, and it's decent to run on an extreme team. So it's actually gonna do some great damage, and it's just overall good because, I mean, it's Majin Vegeta. Who doesn't like Majin Vegeta? And that card art looks amazing, so it just had to be here. It's an amazing card. I know LR AGL is better, but we're not going through LRs, and we're not comparing the Vegetas. That'll be for some other time. So it had to be mentioned, though. It's an honorable mention right there. Super Saiyan 2 Kaba, another honorable mention. It's a free-to-play card as well. You can get it through event and awaken it a couple of times through 2 different story events. And it's actually a pretty good Universe Survival Saga support. Not support, but it's a pretty good unit for that team. That's what it is. It's a good unit for that team, because it has attack +80% when performing super attack and a chance to perform a critical hit, +7% up to 49% per Universal Survival Saga category ally on the team. So this thing, if you have a full Universal Survival Saga team, it will have a 49% chance of crit. And this thing drops crits every day, honestly. It drops a lot of crits. At least for me, it works really well. And when it does crits, it does pretty good damage. So it's a really good unit. Free to play, yet again. For free to play, it's a pretty good unit, so it had to be here as an honorable mention for the tech units. Another one is Heart to Heart Gohan Kid. Now this one is here because it has a very interesting passive skill, which is that attack +200%. and fully recover HP when HP is 30% or below once only. Now, this only happens once, but when it happens, this thing has attack +200%, okay? Let's say you have it maxed. That's 12k +200%. That's quite a high attack stat, and of course if it's on a good team and it's well boosted, you're gonna have full HP in 1 turn, and a character that's 200% boosted attack. Like, that's insane. Not to mention that its super attack causes supreme damage and rare chance to stun. So, that right there makes it kind of viable for some stuff like Super Battle Road as well. That it could be viable because it will heal up your team if you're low in HP, and it will do a decent amount of damage, at least for that turn. So that's an interesting card, and I do like the art because Icarus is there. I mean, there isn't a card with Gohan and Icarus. This is pretty much the only one, so had to be mentioned. Another one is Trusted Winner Super Saiyan Trunks GT. Pretty decent support unit with attack and STR type, Ki +2 and attack and defense +25%. This one you don't see very often. I do have it, and honestly it's pretty decent to use. I can definitely run with this on the tag team, and it will provide a decent amount of support with the 2 Ki and 25% attack and defense, honestly. And again, just overall, it's a decent support unit. And it raises defense by 30% for 6 turns after using super attacks, so really nice there. And just overall pretty good tech unit, so it had to be honorable mentioned as well. Another one is the True Valor of Potara Vegito with attack and defense +30% for all allies. That amazing support as well, amazing passive support. And it has, of course, good stats overall. Maxed out, has 13k HP attack and almost 10k defense. That is amazing stats right there. And causes supreme damage and allies attack +25% for 1 turn. So it actually provides a 55% attack boost for all allies whenever it super attacks. So that's a pretty decent amount of support boosting the attack stat for your team. It runs really well on any Potara team and even attack team as well, so it had to be mentioned as well. And of course it's Vegito, and that art looks pretty sick with that kick. It looks really cool, so had to be mentioned. Another one is of course the famous TN. It's probably one of the best TNs in the game, has really good stats, and it's the best tech support unit you could have. It has tag type Ki +3 and super attack type attack and defense +40%. That is an amazing boost for a tag type team. So of course it has to be super, but it is an amazing boost, amazing support, and it has amazing stats overall, especially if it's maxed out. Almost 10k defense, 13k attack and HP. That's pretty decent, honestly. And supreme damage to the enemy and lowers the attack. Really good as well. So overall, another pretty good honorable mention there. Then we have the counterpart of the TN, which is the Imperfect Cell second form, and it's pretty much the same as TN, but for extreme types. It boosts extreme types, and yet again, I don't have to say anything about it. It's the same as TN. Another good honorable mention that had to be here. Another one is of course the OG Gotenks tech. It's pretty good. It can actually launch super attacks easier than other characters because it can launch a super attack with only 9 Ki. So that's awesome. It has attack plus 120% when performing a super attack. That's an insane amount of boost. It does tons of damage and lowers defense. So honestly, pretty good unit as well. It had to be mentioned here. Another one is Fusion Zamasu. Pretty good unit as well. I mean, it's decent for extreme teams and extreme tech as well. It only has a weird passive because a passive that specifically lowers the attack of superclass allies. I don't know why that would be a thing, but it is a thing. So I don't know why it doesn't hinder super type enemies. It would be good if it would do that, but it only hinders your allies. So I don't know what's really the point of it. So they definitely should change this unit. I feel like this is one of those units that you look at and it needs an update. But either way, it had to be mentioned. It's pretty strong, pretty good unit. Another one is of course the infamous 120 lead for extreme type tech. It is the Broly. Now it's not my top 5 because honestly I don't really like the art of it. The art is messy. It's a lot of stuff going on, and it's not my favorites just because it actually loses defense per Ki sphere obtained. Now it's a pretty decent passive, okay, it's plus 100 attack, and then attack plus 12%, and defense minus 10% per Ki sphere obtained. That's what I don't like, is if you need a lot of warps to super attack, his defense is gonna be pretty lowered, so I don't really like that. And overall, his stats, his defense is way lower than the other stats, so you're gonna get tons of damage against you if you don't really use it correctly. So it's kind of like a little gimmick, like it's very specific. You need to have it on a good team that can support his defense a bit. So that's why it's not on my favorites. It is pretty good, honestly. I'm not saying it's bad. It's pretty good, but it's not my favorites. So, but it had to be mentioned because it's really strong and it's the 120 lead for extreme tech types. Another one is Dark Intentions Masked Saiyan, which is Bardock. Of course, we all know it's Bardock, but this one has an insane passive boost with attack plus 50k and defense plus 20k when facing 2 or less enemies. That is an insane stat boost if you're doing a Dokkan event with it, or even running it on Dokkan Battlefield or Virtual Dokkan. It's pretty insane of a stat boost, honestly. And his stats by original maxed out are really high as well. So it does have to be mentioned, definitely. A pretty strong unit overall. And that's about it, just because it has a really strong boost. So pretty strong, definitely a recommended extreme tech unit. This here, Fire of Vengeance, Golden Frieza, another honorable mention. Had to be mentioned because I have this unit, I have it maxed out, really good stats, and this is a tank. This thing just doesn't die, okay? This thing on your team is the best thing you can have to tank anything it's gonna get hit with, because it's insane defense stat that's pretty high. And of course the passive, damage received minus 70% and attack plus 70% when HP is 50% or above. That is amazing. That is really good. Has a decent leader skill if you need a sub lead even for Battlefield, providing 100% on every stat. And it causes immense damage to enemy and greatly lowers defense. That is pretty good, honestly. It has tons of damage, honestly. One of my best units in the game up to this day still. On my Extreme Tech team, I run it all extreme units with Rose as a lead. I run it as the tank, and overall, really good unit. I love this Frieza. Really good unit, honestly. So it had to be mentioned. Not on my top 5 though. Almost. I almost placed it on my top 5, but it didn't make it because there's more units that do more than this one. But this one is definitely a big highlight. Big highlight right here. This one. Another big highlight right here, because this 117 is a monster. This thing is a nuker and a nuker tank because it boosts defense as well with the spheres, and it's a pretty decent leader skill with attack type key plus 2, HP attack and defense plus 90%, causes supreme damage to enemy raises attack for 6 turns, and attack and defense plus 70% and plus additional attack 15%. And defense 10% per tech key sphere. That is amazing. If you can have him use a lot of tech spheres, this thing, it actually does tons of damage and can tank really well because his defense stat is actually pretty high than normal units. If you look at his stats, even maxed out, they're pretty close, all of them. You have 13k HP, 13k attack by 1 only. Wow, that's a crazy number there, and over 10k defense. That is pretty good. That is very balanced out and solid stats for him, and this passive is pretty strong if you have units that can provide tech orbs to him. So it had to really be mentioned as well. This one, I have it, really good. I use it as well on my tech team. Amazing. Another one that it's almost like 17, but it's a bit better. There's just one thing that makes her better, and it is that she provides the orbs to herself. She has the same passive, but she changes physical key spheres to tech key spheres, and additional attack plus 12% and defense plus 7%. It's more attack and less defense than 17, but it's still pretty balanced, and she changes the spheres for her. So honestly, she always will have a good amount of green spheres for her, and she will always do insane damage. This thing on my tag team is a monster. She does a lot of damage, and she tanks very well as well. She has really solid stats, so it had to be another high mention. These three 18, 17, and Golden Frieza are like the big highlights before the top 5, because these 3 are really, really good. Now, diving into the top 5, we have number 5, Android 16. Android 16, amazing super attack leader skill with Ki +2 and everything, 90% over across the board. Greatly raises defense for 1 turn and causes supreme damage to enemy. Amazing. Attack and defense plus 80%, plus additional defense plus 30%. It goes up to 90% per Android's category ally on the team. High chance to guard all attacks. This is a monster of a tank, honestly. This thing is a must-have, especially if you want to run a really good Android's team. This thing is your tank on that Android's team. It is definitely at least one of your tanks, because there is Super 17. That's pretty good tanking as well. And this one, though, is amazing. Overall, really good stats, and just amazing. It's just freaking amazing how this thing tanks. And it works so well for the Androids, and not to mention the art. This is the cleanest art we have for Android 16, and I love Android 16, so it had to be my number 5, honestly. It's amazing. I love seeing this thing being on the game really good, so it had to be on my number 5. It was straight up one of my favorites as soon as I saw this thing. Number 4, we have the Astounding Transformation Super Saiyan 3 Goku Angel, the 120 Elite for Super Tech types. It is an amazing unit. This does so much damage. Oh my god, this thing. Immense damage with rare chance to stun the enemy. Stunnings happen all the time with him as well. At least that's my experience with it. Passive, attack plus 120% and attack plus 20% per rainbow key sphere. You give rainbows to this thing, and this thing, it's insanely strong. My lord, how much damage this thing can do. Honestly, this unit is just insanely good. If you want a really good, of course, tag team, you need to have this as your leader, because it's the best leader you can have for tech. And it's just gonna do insane amount of damage. Really good. So, and of course the art, and it's Super Saiyan 3. It had to be here. It had to be my number 4. So, right here, number 4, definitely. Now, number 3, I love Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta is amazing. I love it. It's my favorite GT character, hands down. Favorite GT character, and it is the fusion category leader with Ki +3, HP attack and defense plus 150%. And of course, it provides tech types Ki +3, HP attack and defense plus 50%. So overall, it's like one of the smaller OK tech leaders. But he's the fusion category, so that makes fusions being interesting in the game as well. So, and he's really good. The art looks amazing. And greatly raises attack and defense for 1 turn, causes immense damage to enemy. Attack plus 120%, insane boost there. And extreme class enemies attack and defense minus 20%. That's a really good nerf for any event where your opponent might be extreme type. This is an amazing nerf for those enemies. High chance of evading enemy super attack and countering with tremendous power. If you know your enemy is gonna drop a super attack, put this thing in front of it and it will most likely evade it and counter. That's one of the greatest things this thing has. It's just the countering of super attacks. It's amazing. It does tons of damage. Oh my god, the damage output of this thing is insane. So definitely had to be my number 3, because favorite character, amazing overall damage, a good nerf for extreme events, and just overall great unit, so it had to be here. Number 2 is the recent Transforming Frieza. It's a really cool unit, honestly. It looks amazing, and I'm not gonna go through all the passives, but we all know how this works. It just gets better with each transformation. We have it, all of them over here. The second form and the third form right here, the alien form, like the final Frieza and the golden Frieza, and it just looks amazing. An extreme class leader. It's the overall best extreme leader, because to any extreme types, Ki +3, HP attack and defense plus 120%. Amazing extreme leader. and immense damage, great chance to stun the enemy. Of course, the other super attacks do other effects, but this is like the strongest form. Now, the only thing that's bad about it is that you'll probably never get to the end, to the final form, because the events, if you have really good units, they're not going to give you time to get to the last forms. At least that's what happens to me. But if it does, this is a monster. This is like a sure win if you do. And the passive is attack plus 120%, recovers 15 HP at the start of the turn, 13% HP at the start of the turn, Ki plus 12 and performs a critical hit once only. The critical hit that both him and Goku have on its final form. And overall, insane stats, really insane stats, honestly. And it just looks amazing. The overall transformation mechanic, being an extreme class overall leader, and just having insane stats, insane power, really good unit, and it had to be the number 2, of course. Now, on the number 1, it is gonna be the Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan Vegito. My favorite character, Vegito. Vegito is my favorite character. I love Super Saiyan Blue, and this art looks insanely good. I love this art. And this character is just insanely strong. Okay, so it has the Super type allies, Ki plus 3, HP attack defense 120%. When team includes all 5 super types. This is the Rainbow team leader. I love Rainbow teams, honestly, I love them. And this was the leader, and it's amazing. Raises attack and defense and causes immense damage to enemy with the final Kamehameha. I love that attack animation in the game as well. Great chance to launch up to 2 additional attacks, each of which has a medium chance to become a super attack. Attack plus 15% with each attack performed up to 150%. So his attack can be boosted up to 150% if you launch a lot of super attacks. And that is an insane boost to his attack stat, because maxed out his stats are insane. He has 17k HP and attack and almost 10k defense. That is an insane stats total. It's really, really strong. And overall, it's just my favorite character. Looks amazing. His damage output is insane in this game. It is a Rainbow Super team leader. And overall, it's pretty good for the team as well, because it does raise attack and defense. And just insanely good. Insanely good. I love this unit. This is number 1 for me. Better than anything else. Either for a Rainbow team, or if you're doing another sort of team and you're like, okay, I need a good tech unit to have on it. Even if it's a tech team, this is a unit you must have. This thing is gonna do tons of damage for you. Most of the enemies are taken down with the damage this thing does. So it had to be my number 1. And that is pretty much it for my top 5 tech Dokkan battle units in the game. Of course, included all the honorable mentions. Let me know down below in the comments which are your favorite tech type units in Dokkan Battle Global. No LRs included, of course. And let me know any other top 5s you want to see about Dokkan. If you want to see top 5 LRs, top 5 in any other category or whatever, let me know down below what you want to see next. And of course, I'll keep an eye on those comments. If you have enjoyed, fire punch that like button down below, and I'll catch you all on the next one. So until then, everyone, as always, stay beast. See ya!